guys, this is Rick coming at you with Weed to No Basis, the podcast for all things cannabis business related. Are you an entrepreneur? Have something you wanted to create, something you wanted to bring to life in the cannabis industry? Maybe you've always wanted to partake in one of the biggest industries in modern day history. This is the podcast to listen to that.
All right, guys, we're back. We're back on an episode of Weed to No Basis. And remember, if you're watching this or listening to this, it's because you're on a Weed to No Basis. And just as a reminder, our traditional audience is very untraditional because we're talking about CBD cannabis, the business, for the folks who are curious about cannabis and CBD, and the ones who are just wondering what the heck's going on, and they want just a real, raw, transparent group of people who are giving them the truth. And that's what we're here today with. And so before I get into the next guest, I got to talk in a second about these random text messages I'm getting right as we're about to record. But in a second, Julian Contreras of Livin Natural CBD here in San Antonio. How you doing, Julian?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the show, Rick. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. I couldn't wait to get you guys on. In a second, I'm going to share with our audience why. Because you guys all know, whether you've seen us or you've listened to us, you know that the folks we bring on here, the brands, the companies, the founders, there's something unique about them. And in a second, we're going to talk about what makes this group of founders and this company very distinct. And it's not the formulation, it's actually the formula. So hang on a sec. Julian, you guys are here in San Antonio. You're here, like, actually, we're not too far away right now as we're talking, right?
That's right. We're probably about a 15, 20-minute drive from each other.
Yeah, and you guys have a brick and mortar location fairly central here in the city, right?
Yes, sir. 11814 Wurzbach. We're right off of Wurzbach and Lock Hill Selma in San Antonio.
Bam, love that. Guys, I believe in the art of self-promotion, and I love that you just dropped your address, like in the first, I'm looking at my clock, 2 minutes. That's badass. So some people like to, as they're listening and watching, they might be going, okay, Livin Natural, let me go check them out. So just for clarity, you guys spell Livin Natural. Give us your website real quick, and we're going to put it at the end again, but tell us your website, the URL.
Sure, it's www.livinnatural.com, and we spell that Livin without the G. So Livin and then ATURAL. Livin Natural.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I wanted to make that distinction because whenever I listen to podcasts and I'm at home, I always go to websites as I'm listening to grab more information. So I want to make it clear to folks, you now know the address and you now know their website. It's Livin Natural without a G. So tell us about the name. Like, how did the name Livin Natural? I see you have the logo on your you're wearing the swag. So how did the name come about?
Sure, that's actually a really great question. The other owner, Mike, and I have been friends since high school. And, you know, we've always had a little swagger about us. And I think that does come through in the name, it being, you know, without the G, Livin Natural. It's a little more hip, if you might say. But pretty much Mike's always wanted to start a business. And he's always kind of used living in his, whether it's like a, you know, in his tag name or in his, whatever it is that he was trying to do. So he always knew living would be in whatever business that he decided to go in, part of it. And that, it just comes true, you know, when he decided to do this business, he decided to use living as part of it. So really the name came from Mike and us being in the cannabis culture and huge supporters of, you know, the therapeutic benefits of cannabis. It just seemed very natural to also use natural.
Gotcha. Yeah. And now, so for those of you who are watching, folks, I just want to, I'm very repetitive, you know, repetition builds habits. So I have a screen up, I have my notes here, and I have a timer here. So when I look around, it's not because I'm sending text to I was going to say my girlfriend, my wife. If she hears it, she's going to just knock me out. It's not because I'm sending texts to the kids or anything. It's because I actually grab information as we talk to, and Livin Natural. Yeah. And right front and center, you guys have your logo, you have a video, reducing pain, anxiety, better sleep. Let's see. And I'm looking, so Livin Today, Livin Generously, Livin Family. So I'm picking up what you're putting down. the word livin without the G, it translates into perhaps how you guys live your life, livin natural today, generously. What does that mean? Like, tell me about living today. What does that mean to you?
Living today is about making the most of every opportunity as it presents itself. So when it comes to CBD, it's about us being able to help people live better lives through the quality of the products, right? And also through the education. We believe, like I said, in the therapeutic properties of cannabis. And I personally believe that a lot of, getting into the business, my mom was like, Julian, you're doing weed? What are you doing? And I want to let her know that, hey, not only her, but the rest of society kind of changed the way people feel about cannabis. And so Livin Today is really us doing our best to, inspire other people, to help people live better quality of life, change the idea of cannabis in our society, and give back. We started this company really wanting to be able to give back. And in starting a company, we knew that whatever we were going to do was going to help give back. And so, obviously helping change lives, but then also we're going to be cutting a check here pretty soon to a couple of local organizations that are going to help, give back. We want to give back 10% of the profits that we make every year.
Got it. I love it. I love that. I'm a big fan of having not just the story behind the brand, but a methodology of people we support or groups or nonprofits. So I love it. And I got to tell you, I love even more because we're in the same city. So it's always awesome to hear local companies, entrepreneurs who are giving back and supporting their communities. So yeah. So that ties into then one of your taglines is living generously, right? That's what that means.
That's what that means. Like I said, we want to let people know that, hey, we're not here just to make a profit. We don't want you to come in the door and leave with a product, although that's great for us. Whether or not you buy immediately, we want you to leave better informed. And then hopefully, maybe you come back or maybe you leave with something that day, you end up living, a better quality of life through CBD. But that's where Livin Generously comes in. We want to make sure that we're doing what's right by not only our clients, but also by our community. So all of us, pretty much grew up here. And when I say all of us, I mean me, Mike, and our business partner, Eric. We all are very tied to San Antonio. We have deep roots here, and we want to see the community do better. Specifically, the areas of the town that are less fortunate. So we definitely want to give back.
Love it. I love that. I love the deep roots part. You're tapping into things that, some people, if I'm going to preface this with, if you're listening to this and you're a brand or a startup and this bothers you, then it may be because it's true. But I love that you guys are tapped into your community, that you guys give back, and you do it with the cannabis brand, with the CBD company. And I just want to be clear for the listeners out there, we use the word cannabis interchangeably. We're in Texas. And so while marijuana is illegal, when we use the word cannabis, we're referring to CBD brands and companies like Livin Natural. So I'm going to touch on the next one, Livin Family, in just a sec, but I got to do a quick sidebar because I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there was just a ding. And that's my text message. And there's a little story behind that because I'm going to pull it up. So one of the things we do is before we come on live with the guest, we always do, I send a personal text. It's not automated. It's from me. And it says, hey, just checking in, still good to go. And I sent it to the wrong number. When I sent it to you, Julian, I was off by one digit. I won't read your number on air, but it was, instead of 23, I put in 22 and I sent it and I didn't hear anything. And I'm like, what? And that's why you hear the ding right now. And I was like, okay. And so I rechecked and I'm like, oh man, I missed it by a digit. But I got a text back from that wrong number. And then I just got another text and they have my name, Rick, with a question mark. And I'm like, how the hell? It's hilarious. I literally just dinged and I see that the wrong number texted me back, and apparently we may know each other, and I had no idea how that happened. So
that's amazing.
It's crazy. Nutty world we live in. I saw somebody post on like Facebook or wherever. It was kind of funny, but it's not. How they were thinking about pizza or thinking about something, and then all of a sudden it shows up in their timeline. It's weird how that works, right?
Absolutely.
So, Livin Family. And again, I'm literally looking at your guys's about us on your story, on your website. And we talked about what Livin Today means, what Livin Generously means. Dive into Livin Family. That has a lot of meaning for me. And I'm really curious from you guys there.
Sure. So Livin Family is, we wanted to make a culture around our brand. And the culture of it being very family oriented, us feeling like the people that come into our store, we know them by name, and like we want to make sure that our loyalty program conveyed that. So we call our loyalty program, our pretty much our family program, and it's our Livin Family, our extended family. And when you come in here, you're going to be treated as such. And so family is a big part of our lives, specifically because all three of us are dads, and everything that we do is to create legacy, right? And I want my son to be able to grow up and be proud of, who I am and what we've accomplished. And being a model for my son is very important for us. But even when we were getting started opening up the store, once the store was opened, it was in the middle of the summer, and we all had our kids in our office in the back every day, and so we would take time to take them to lunch, and we just do the best that we can to be dads, but our kids are very involved in what we do.
And I want to point that out in just a second, because Livin Family, you touched on a lot of things, and the reason why that resonates with me, and I'm sure a lot of people out there, family is so important. Whether it's your brothers and sisters or your friends or your tribe, family can have so many meanings. But you literally talked about your family. You guys are fathers, all three of you. You, Eric, and Mike, all three of you are dads, right?
Absolutely.
So there's an even deeper meaning, because what you're doing, and you mentioned the word legacy, what you're doing could have an impact, not just with you and the proverbial bottom line, but with what your kids are seeing every day. And so it may not be just legacy. It's also maybe teaching lessons and showing your children, this is what it's like. So and you said your kids sometimes go there.
Yes. In the summertime, we had them here every day. We didn't pay for childcare because they were here at the office. So our store is split up, in the front half of the store is the storefront, but then the back half is an office, and it's pretty much split about 50-50. So we have a large back half that we've set up with a TV and with the couches and with a lunch area. And so we make sure that if one of our kids gets sick in the school year, they're going to spend the day with daddy at the shop.
Okay, that's really interesting. So, and I'm a little bit older than you, and so I'm pulling this from my experience growing up. But whenever I was sick growing up, and it wasn't a lot, I would usually stay home with mom. So, what you're saying is you guys have flipped that. What you're saying is that your kids not only have a place to kind of hang out there, which is really super cool. They get to see parents at work, but when they're ill, they stay with dad.
That's right. All of our, all the mothers of our kids work. And so we do our best to create our schedules kind of around theirs. And part of that is, it's a bummer when, you have a child or you have multiple kids and they get sick at different times and you're having to take a ton of time off of work. And so we try to put as much of that on us being business owners as we can take off, off the moms.
Nice. Love it. I love those things. And I want the listeners, whether you want, or even viewers, to take note of that this is all hands on deck, being a business owner, an entrepreneur, a father, a family man, a spouse, and who knows what else you have going on in your life. But yeah, that's
also why we're closed on Sundays. We're all, God-fearing fathers, so we do go to church, but also that's our time, no matter what we have going on, to just declutter and spend time with the family. And I can say for sure, for all of us on Sundays, that's exactly what we're doing.
Nice. I did not know that. So you guys kind of have you've adopted with my timer fell. There's the Chick-fil-A kind of close on Sundays thing, because Chick-fil-A is known for being closed on Sundays for
Absolutely.
those same reasons. Interesting. So I love it. Livin Naturally, Livin Today, Livin Generously, Livin Family. You guys are dads, and the three of you, you've chosen to do something controversial. I mean, we did an episode on Weed to Know Basis, and I don't know which one it was. I want to say at the end of 2019, because we're recording this in 2020, and we talked about on that episode, what was it like to jump into a counterculture industry that was misunderstood, and furthermore, what would family think? So let me ask you that. What did your wife think? Or and you don't have to share anything specific about the kids. I want to leave them, but what do they think about this?
Sure. I think that we have very supporting spouses. And so even if they weren't maybe on board fully right away, they completely trust us and supported us in making this transition into the cannabis space. And, even us getting into it, I don't think we really knew exactly what came with that, but we knew that it was definitely going to be tough. And it has been getting the store set up, getting just all the normal things that, other small businesses, other entrepreneurs maybe don't have to worry about. There are extra hoops that come with being in the cannabis space. And so, we're learning as we go, but our spouses have been super supportive. And I think want to touch on the kids, if that's okay with you for a little bit. I know that I went to a market on the weekend, and I ran into another gentleman who was there with his maybe 10, 12-year-old son. And I remember he was helping set up with all the pipes, and he was setting all the product out on the table. And towards the end of the event, I went up to him and I said, "Hey, I just have a personal question really quick, if you don't mind." He said, "Sure." I said, what are your thoughts on your family, growing up in this cannabis space, where we've been taught that weed is bad or cannabis is bad? They're at a young age, here helping you pretty much distribute your product. And he said, "That's a great question." And he said, "Honestly, as a nurse, I know the damage that pharmaceuticals can do, not only to a person, as much help as they have, they also have a ton of side effects." And he said, "And I've been able to see, the addiction that some of those pharmaceuticals come with, and they destroy families, in some ways, not always. There's a lot of great, pharmaceuticals out there." He said, "But I just really believe in the therapeutic properties of cannabis as well. And I want my family to grow up knowing that it's not bad, and everything, of course, in moderation, and within legalities, especially us being here in Texas, but that cannabis isn't bad." And he said, "I've had this conversation multiple times with my son, and when I was younger, I probably would have been," he said, "when I was younger, I probably would have been like, dude, this is awesome. I want all of this." He said, "But my son feels just that it's a beneficial product, and he knows, what I'm doing, and the good and the bad. And there's really, cannabis isn't the scare that, history has made it out to be. It's really something good, and he's proud of what I'm doing." So we give our kids gummies and, lollipop or whatever. And we want them to know that, hey, this is not something that we're trying to keep hush. This is something that if we keep in the forefront and we keep pushing the whole movement forward, this is a good thing. This is good for society.
Nice. I love it. I love especially that you spoke to a nurse. And for those of you who don't know, is that we updated our website recently, and we put down there that I've been a registered nurse for 20 years now. So it's about 20 years. So over 20 years. And I got to concur, it's not a bash against Western medicine. It's rather it's that there's alternatives that are available to us now. And I got to agree with the nurse that you spoke to. This is it's a brave new world, and how cool that you guys get to do this with your children. I got to say, that's like one of the coolest things ever. And I have a prediction, Julian. I think that's going to be a controversial nugget. I think people are going to, that's going to be, and as far as I'm concerned, that's okay. I mean, you know,
Sure.
yeah, it's,
I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and we, like I said, we're very confident in what we're doing, and also in the brand that we've created. We have a motto, living in truth, living with nature, and living to inspire. And living in truth is just being transparent, whether that's with our families or with our customers. And living in nature is exactly what we're doing. We're promoting a cannabis product that comes from Mother Earth. And also we want to be environmentally conscious as well. We believe that cannabis can be used in a variety of ways to benefit us, from our health to our clothes, and especially with the environment. And, industrial hemp can change so many of the issues that we have today. And then living to inspire, like I said, we want to give back, and we want to inspire other people to become their own entrepreneur, or even just to get off the couch and help with a better quality of life. If you have an issue, you have pain in your leg or something, or you have anxiety, and cannabis helps you get through those things, then you can do all the things that maybe you used to do, or that you were passionate about, or that you want to be passionate about, whether it's cycling or sand volleyball, or, just hanging out with the kids. So.
yeah. Julian, what was your story? Like, what was your, if you don't mind sharing with us kind of your, I call it your origin story. What was, let me ask you a different question. What was the point where you decided, whether it was you or with your partners, with Eric and Mike, we're going to start something in CBD? Like, what was the inflection point, and what drove you to that point?
That's a great question. Mike had been looking for a business to start for a long time, for years. I'm talking like 10 years, right? And we've always talked about having our own business. And I was in New York, and Mike, I guess, had heard about CBD for a while, and he stumbled upon one of the first stores here in San Antonio, and he was just blown away. And he said, "This is something that I can get behind. This is something that I really want to do." And so he and Eric really started the business at that point, doing all the research and once they pretty much had a solid foundation, they reached out to me to help them. Well, he reached out to me to join. He said, "Hey, I could really use your help in starting this business." And I was living in New York at the time, and I really didn't want anything to do with it. So I told him, "Hey, I'm not there, but if you need any help, with little things, I can help you out." So I did some graphic design work. And then as I started working on their website, I was doing a bunch of research on my own, and just really fell in love with everything that I was reading and that I was hearing about. And so I reached out to friends and family. Little did I know, a bunch of them were already taking CBD and receiving the benefits, and they were super excited about where CBD was going. And so I called them up right away, and I said, "Hey, bud, I'm on board. Like, let's do this." So that conversation probably happened in February, March. And then I moved down to San Antonio in May, and we opened the store in August.
Dang.
This is of 2019.
Okay. So coming up to close to a year, give or take. Interesting. And, you mentioned graphic design, and I got to share, later on, we're going to share your Instagram page, but your stories, I've seen some of the stories, and they're atypical, meaning the way they're designed. I think I may have mentioned this to you at one point in the past, that your Insta stories, they look pro. I mean, seriously. So
Thank you.
So that must be where some of that graphic design background comes in.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Nice.
We're still, getting used to the social media space, but it's definitely been a fun challenge.
It is. And so, and the social media is, it's been talked about a lot, but it is a challenge regardless of whether you're CBD, cannabis, marijuana. Absolutely. It's a challenge for everybody right now. So, this isn't our show today. This is your show, but that was one of the reasons why we started this show, Weed to Know Basis, because we wanted to create our own content and be able to control it, own it, slice it, dice it, edit it, and then distribute it as we see fit. And if Instagram decides to say we don't want to show it, that's okay. We still own the content. If Facebook says no mas, you're CBD, That's cool. We still own the content. And that's why, I don't know if I said this when we were live, probably live, that we stream across about 8 or 9 different platforms now. And so I love it. I love it. I love what you guys stand for. I love that you guys have a deeper meaning. I love that you have roots in San Antonio. But I want to point out to the listeners out there is what I really love. And again, this is going to be a sticking point for some folks out there, is your family's involved in your business, like from the children on up to dad, all 3 of you guys. I think that's an incredible testament to your belief and what you guys are doing for the industry in our town, everywhere.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
And I have to say, we're really excited about your show and the content you're putting out as well. So it's an honor to be on your show. You all are doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Julian. I got to ask, because I know some people who are watching, and folks, if you're not watching, I'm going to compel you to go to WeedTube or YouTube and just check it out, because we're talking live, and that's okay if you're listening. But right behind you, Julian, there's an RG on the wall. It looks like it's inscribed on the wall. It looks like it's painted on there. What does that mean back there? I'm curious.
Sure. So when we redesigned our labels, we decided to kind of go with a theme that's similar to maybe the periodic table, and you'll see that on all of our labels. Our products are divided into different lines. So we have regimen line, and RG is going to be at the beginning of all of the labels in the regimen line. Supplements, topicals, and pet products. So all the products that we offer are going to have, a couple of letters in front of it on the label.
Gotcha.
And in our store, they're set up that way as well.
Gotcha. So RG, you said regiment. So so for the consumer or somebody who's maybe wants to dissect that, do you mean that's something that's part of their daily regimen?
Absolutely. One of the biggest questions, customers have a lot of questions, but one thing that I always like to point out when somebody comes in and goes straight to our supplement section is, yes, you will receive benefit from the gummy in this sort of way, whatever way it is they're looking for, but you shouldn't rely on that regularly. And then I'll let them know, on our regiment section, this is something you're going to take daily. That's going to have longer lasting effects. And then if you need additional help, then you use the supplements as a boost, or even just, as an intro into the cannabis or the CBD space. But really, the maximum benefit you're going to get is going to be from the regimen side. And of course, what they do is on them, but I always try to let people know. And that's why we set up our store that way.
Nice. I got it. So if they're looking for kind of a one-hit wonder, it might be in a different section. If they're looking for something, and I'm also a believer and an advocate and proponent of having this part of your daily regimen. So
absolutely.
Very cool. And then you have a pet section as well. So, pets are our best friends, right?
We go through a lot of pet products, believe it or not. And the store owner next to us, she's amazing. She's been a huge blessing to us. And she is our biggest fan of the pet products. So she's personally walked over, somewhere between 5 and 10 people that are still buying our pet products regularly. Very
cool. Love it. Love it. So kids, Livin Natural, Livin Today, Livin Generously, Livin Family. I'm saying this over and over. Remember, I told you I'm a believer in repetition. And then if you're watching this, you see the logo. Folks, by the time you're done listening to this, you're going to be living awesomely and want to go and want to head to the shop so you can see what this is all about. I love it. Did you design the logo? I'm just curious now.
Yes, sir.
Very cool. I honestly, Julian, I hadn't looked at it the way I'm looking at it now, but it's beyond the L and the N. It looks like on the L, there's a drop, and on the N, it looks like a leaf. Is that what that is?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is.
Interesting. Tell us the story. I had not really seen that until just this moment, because it's on my big computer screen right now.
Sure. Well, as you said, Livin Natural, we really want to focus on the natural part when it comes to the logo. So the logo itself is going to have a droplet, whether that's a droplet of oil, CBD oil, which is what most of the customers that we have are most familiar with when they come in, or it's maybe a droplet of water, something that brings life to the world. So that we felt was going to be essential. And then also because of the products that we offer now, and then being through cannabis, we wanted to honor plants. And so that's why I put the leaf in the logo. And we went through a bunch of different logos before we decided on this one. And we all just decided this was, the perfect fit for what we were looking for. Very cool.
I'm digging it. I'm digging that you guys, this is a very organic feeling company. You created everything. I don't mean you, I mean the team there. You created it from the logo to the look, the feel. Even I got to say, you guys have something special with the way you've designed your store with the regiment and the pet side and supplements and all the thing, and the time with periodic table. There's without a doubt, as far as I'm concerned, a very natural feel to what you guys are doing, and the fact that you've incorporated your family into it, it's outstanding. You know why it is, Julian, and I'm going to point to one of my experiences is, as an entrepreneur, sometimes people say, well, you have to choose between family and the grind, so to speak. And you flipped that upside down. You said, no, you don't. You can absolutely have both, and they can coexist together. So
sure, it's a tough balance, but finding balance in life is so important. I don't want to be the absentee father that's never there, and no matter how much I provide for my kid, I want him to also to have time, and so our hours kind of reflect that.
Love it. Yeah, close on Sunday, so Chick-fil-A. No, that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. Not a lot of folks stick to their guns that way, but you got to hand it to you guys for sticking to your values. That's really what we're talking about, is the values behind the Livin Natural, behind your company. So very cool. I got to ask you, I'm looking at my timer, 30-ish minutes into this. Where can people find you? Where can people find Livin Natural on the web, on the internet? What's the best place?
Sure. So I said the website, and I'll say it again, because you can find all of our handles on our main website. That's www.livinnatural.com, LIVINATURAL. And then also on Instagram, we're Livin Natural 210, Facebook, Livin Natural. And we do have a Twitter, but it's not very active. So but it would be Livin Natural as well.
Gotcha. And I'm going to give you guys another, I mentioned earlier, guys, if for those of you who are listening or watching, we're going to put all of those in the show notes, but I'm going to tag you guys on one of our hashtags, our channels, because you got to check out some of their Insta stories. They're pretty creative. And I mean that. I don't mean like creative, like in a weed way. I mean, creative, like somebody put some intention behind the messaging on your Instagram, especially the Insta story. So super cool. What is next? Like the next 12 months, say? You don't have to go into deep detail, but what I like to tease out, especially when we bring on entrepreneurs, is where are you headed for the next 12 months?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
So in the last, maybe 30 to 45 days, we've been really focused on planning for the next year, and we are really excited about some of the things that we're going to implement. But really, we want to start doing regular classes, if not every week, every other week, even if it's more of a hangout, or it becomes more of a hangout for a lot of people. We want to make sure that we're doing as much as we can to change the way people see cannabis, and the more classes and the more time that we can be in front of people or invite people to come to our store, the more people we can get in front of. We want to make sure that we're doing that. And then also, we said the next 12 months, we're going to do some ramping up on social media, but big picture, we want to be more than just a CBD brand. I mean, we eventually want to grow this into a global brand where we have a music section, Livin Natural, that we have recording artists that follow the values that we offer. And we want to have a clothing line, you know, where you can purchase hemp products, you know, hemp made gear. And those are just a couple of things that we're wanting to set roots for now that we know we want to plan for in the future. So Livin Natural will be here for a long time, and we're really excited about where all of this is going.
Very cool. I love it. I was going to start wrapping up, but you mentioned education and regular classes. So, and that's probably one of the first times I've heard this on interviews, because a lot of folks talk about education. There's a lot of people out there who are saying the gap is education, but you guys are going to literally do classes there at your shop, at your store.
That's right. And we've done them before. The last one, we probably had about, 15 to 20 people. And the cool thing was, after the class, people just hung out and they just stuck around, and we had organic conversation, not only about CBD, but about life. And that's what it is. Like I was saying, that's why we call our rewards program, our Livin Family. And we really want the people that come here to feel that way when they walk in, welcomed and as part of a bigger family.
Love it. Guys, we're going to put all the links in the show notes, whatever platform you're listening to. So if you're driving, don't worry, don't try and write this down. It's going to be their Instagram handles, the website, all those things. I'm going to compel you to go check them out, especially because no BS. This is probably one of the first times I've ever heard of a company, CBD, that's actually holding education classes for the public in their store. Everybody talks about it, but not a lot of people are executing on it. So kudos to you guys. You folks listening or watching, you need to go check them out. Follow them, hit them up, get a feel for what they're doing, because all the stuff you heard here, it's, excuse my language, but it's no bullshit. They are living, living their truth. You guys are. Julian, really appreciate you being on.
Rick, it's a blessing to have you as part of this, and we're really excited about this next year. So hopefully we're on here again.
Yeah. I'm gonna say something to you, Julian, and I say this with all love. Remember, especially because we're entrepreneurs, hope is not a strategy. You will be on here again.
We'll be on here again.
Will.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And now I'm going to hold you to that, because I'm going to now put on my calendar a second, maybe a live feed or live shoot that we do at your place, because remember, guys, if you're an entrepreneur, hope is not a strategy. And I say that with all love and respect, guys. Julian, it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome having you on here. And for those of you, if you're watching or listening, the reason why you're here is because you're curious, you're thinking about changing things up, doing something different, maybe get into the industry, and you're looking for the real raw truth, the living truth. This is the place to be. And I want to thank you guys, because you two are all on a need to know basis. Thank you all so much. Have an awesome rest of the day, the week, the month, the year. Have an awesome life. Peace.